Well, Ben, it's time.
Rob, time for what?
Time for us to travel deep into the far reaches of the universe. Jules, take us into hyperspace.
Deploying hyperspace in 3, 2, 1.
Do you believe in UFOs?
Do you believe we've made contact with extraterrestrials?
If so, what do they look like?
How many different species do we have documented?
And more importantly, what are their intentions?
All of this and more on today's episode of The Edge of Wonder.
Welcome to a special episode of Edge of Wonder on ET Species. I'm your host, Ben.
And I'm Rob. Whenever you start a conversation about extraterrestrials, there's going to be a lot of confusion on what people saw and what accounts are legitimate or not.
Which is understandable because this issue is definitely something that, if it's true, has been hidden from the general public for a long time.
On this episode, we decided to create an ultimate guide for you guys on who are these beings from other star systems or dimensions that are visiting us.
We had to wade through multiple sets of documents to figure out what really is going on and with all these different species and who they are.
So sit back, relax, and join us in an intergalactic journey through the most notable alien races that we're aware of.
Jules, take it away.
Arcturians. Mission: assisting humans on their spiritual path. Home star: Arcturus. Alignment: benevolent.
So for the first one on our list, we thought we would go for one of the more benevolent extraterrestrial races, the Arcturians.
There's quite a lot of information about this race, and the famous psychic Edgar Cayce said he connected with them and was given a lot of information about these beings.
Arcturians come from the star system Arcturus, which is about 37 light years away and is the brightest star in the constellation of Bootes, which is 110 times brighter than our sun.
According to Cayce and other people who have connected with them, they are supposed to be the most advanced civilization in the entire galaxy and have the most advanced technological spaceships.
One of the ships, which is named off of the Greek goddess Athena, circles the Earth, and the Dark Knight UFO, which people have reported seeing above the Earth in photos, is supposed to be one of their probes, actually.
Their society is governed by the elders, and in their society there is no competition. Their entire being exists to raise their vibrational frequency. The higher the level, the closer one is to God or the Creator.
They achieve this by being able to have complete control over one's thoughts, actions, and emotions. They also judge success of a being by the measure of light frequency one gives off, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. They are said to be from the 5th dimension, and that in order to exist in that dimension, you have to be filled with compassion and overcome all your fear and guilt.
Which is why no one on the human plane is in the 5th dimension. So they're also said to have come here to protect Earth from negative, warlike extraterrestrials that would want to conquer Earth.
It is said that the Draco reptilians have been at war with them since they stopped a lot of the Draco ships from entering Earth's atmosphere.
Because they don't originate from our dimension and their race looks different in that realm, it is hard to pinpoint exactly what they look like. I did my best in this drawing.
So our good friend and insider Emery Smith said that they can appear humanoid, but with a much larger skull. Also, because their descent is so ancient, some have mixed their DNA with other ET DNA, but some have not, so it's hard to say what they look like one way or another.
So what I drew here is basically the gist of what most people are saying. However, Emery did say he knew them to be about 7 to 8 feet tall, but some of the different recordings that we saw were 4 feet, but we don't know because Ben and I have never seen one.
Exactly. At least not that we ever know.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, we might have, but who knows, maybe. But anyway, so almost all of these on the list have the ability to appear human-like, and they use some sort of technology or have powerful enough minds where they can appear human to us.
Next on the list are the Ebens.
Eben. Mission: genetic experimentation with humans and human abduction. Home star: secret planet Serpo in the Zeta Reticuli system. Alignment: generally hostile, but some are known to be benevolent.
So we thought we would make these guys number 2 on the list since we'll be referencing them quite a bit for the next couple of species. The Ebens, which is a name humans gave them derived from EBE or extraterrestrial biological entity.
Many people get these confused with the Greys and vice versa. And Corey Good has said that some people have been abducted by them. It has even been reported by a few different people and government insiders that it was the Ebens who actually crashed during the famous Roswell incident, and that there was not 1 but 2 crashes.
Also, there was a very famous meeting with the Majestic 12 and this race on the exact date of April 24th, 1964 in a secret place in New Mexico. It was recorded and was supposed to make it into the first UFO documentary ever in the 70s. However, at the last moment, it was denied to be included and instead was shown to Steven Spielberg.
So all of the insiders say that Close Encounters was exactly what happened, with the only difference being the location. Even at the end where the human scientists go with them was a secret program called Project Serpo, which is the name of their home planet. Well, not the project part, but you know.
Thank you, Captain Obvious. In these documents, which include 3,000 pages, it talks in detail about Project Serpo, so we seem to know more about the Ebens than any other ET race. They're said to be very friendly, playful, and live in a planet that is similar to Earth, but a lot hotter, with more desert, binary suns, you know, weird stuff like that. Also, they don't eat meat. Does any of this sound familiar?
Binary suns, desert, twin planet, Star Wars.
Oh man, the whole time I was just thinking about the movie E.T. and I was trying to run through what happened in that
Maybe
movie.
that is really where the Star Wars Tatooine came from.
Yeah,
but
could be.
okay. So there was a super secret conversation that came out with William J. Casey, who was the director of the CIA in the 80s, and with President Ronald Reagan, and a caretaker at Camp David. In this long conversation, so much was talked about, but it was said to President Reagan that we have been visited by various races of ETs for thousands of years, and that some, like the Ebens, have the ability of time travel.
It was also mentioned that they had intel on 5 different races and that they knew one was very hostile, which really concerned Reagan, and after Roswell was the reason why they created the Department of Defense.
It was also mentioned by the caretaker that the Ebens travel great distances by means of space tunnels. They seem to be able to bend the space from one point to another, so like 40 light years takes them about 9 months.
However, there is a dark side to all of this. Later in Project Serpo, it was revealed that the Ebens are one of the master races at genetic manipulation and cloning. They found that the 4 other species named in the report were all given to them by the Ebens.
They also found that all 4 of them had similar DNA, meaning that they were cloned using the same source and were most likely some kind of like pet project or something for the Ebens. They can clone almost any living tissue into a creature via a method called rapid cycle cloning.
So guys, we tried to make this section on the Ebens short and cut to the chase, but actually there's a lot of different things being said about them, some of which are in Dr. Sala's report on ET motivations. So if you guys want to learn more about that, we're going to paste that link below and you can learn more. It's unclear whether these guys are compassionate or not. I mean, let's be clear about that.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has different interpretations of these guys. Like
Right.
Some say really, really good, and then some say that they have an agenda that's been going on for thousands and thousands of years.
But it is hard to have different interpretations about the next alien race.
That is true. The most dangerous out of the 5 that was captured is next.
Trantiloids. Mission: genetic experimentation with humans. Home planet: Epsilon Eridani in the constellation Eridanus. Alignment: hostile.
Not much are known about these beings or what they look like, aside from the fact that the military labeled these as HAV, meaning hostile alien visitors.
Yeah, and since no photograph exists, I drew them this way because, well, I just thought you guys might like it. But going back to Project Serpo, it was later revealed that these beings were found to have similar DNA to the Ebens, and it was thus revealed that they are their creators, actually, which is kind of what we got into in the Eben section.
Yes. Which makes us wonder, why would beings that seem so friendly and eager to work with us create such hostile creatures that are abducting people?
So maybe this is where the storyline for Mars Attacks really comes from. We come in peace as we take over your planet. By the way, it was also revealed Project Dove was where the military were giving secrets to Hollywood so people would think that their secret spacecraft were just UFOs.
Yeah, the movie E.T. was actually based on an Eben named J-Rod. But these documents go on to say that the Trantaloids were abducting, mutilating cows to develop antitoxins for themselves, located and derived from within the unique cow physiology.
So again, the conversation with William J. Casey and President Reagan. Casey says, "Mr. President, we have a tarantuloid, but it's dead. We captured it in 1961 in Canada, and we had it in captivity until 1962. When it died, the tarantuloids have strange materials, nothing like those found on Earth. These aliens can imitate humans. They can look like blonde humans, however, they are not blonde, but ugly-looking insects." Which is why I drew it this way, you guys. As you can see, it's like kind of like looks like a somewhat beautiful, evil-looking
Beautiful
human-ish, and then it really what it is this weird insect thing.
You did a good job. It's cool. So the president responds, "Well, they would stand out." To which another unnamed advisor says, "No, Mr. President. As I said, they can imitate looking like humans."
To which the President Reagan jokes, "How in the world do they do that? It took a lot of makeup to make me look good in movies." And then everyone laughed in the room.
So then the other advisor says to him, "Well, Mr. President, I can assure you they don't use makeup, at least not like we would. They have the ability to change their bodies. As I said before, they are 1,000 years ahead of us in technology and probably every other science."
The conversation goes on about what measures are being set in place to protect the American people, and more jokes on how they should call Captain Kirk, or maybe how even Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, knows the truth.
They also explain how their propulsion system harnesses the power of antimatter, which at the time, no one talking to the president understood the physics behind it, and even say that it's like 1,000 years beyond our technology.
Isn't CERN using antimatter?
Exactly.
So that is very interesting, considering this seems to be, as I said, exactly what CERN is doing, trying to generate antimatter. So did this technology come from these guys?
Well, Casey said that they did have a craft recovered from these Trantaloids and that they've already been reverse engineering them.
By the way, guys, check out our video on CERN if you haven't. So Ben, what do you think when I do this? What do you think of?
Mantis?
Yeah.
I think you need some practice with that.
You don't think that was good enough? So the next species is the main extraterrestrials driving the genetic programs.
Jules, take it away.
Mantids. Mission. Genetic experimentation with humans. Home planet. Planet Auto in Zeta Reticuli in the constellation of Reticulum. Alignment. Amoral.
When we talk about these mantid extraterrestrials, the first thing that might come to mind is the Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, that cute telepathic girl in which all of us comic geeks out there are in love with.
Well, guys, sorry. The real mantid race couldn't be further from the truth. Think more of a 6-foot upright walking mantis with black eyes almost as big as your head and a huge mandible, but extremely telepathic.
Yeah, not something I would ask out on a date. Also, according to Project Serpo report, the Ebens created them too. Many people who have been abducted, including Whitley Strieber, claim to have seen these entities leading a lot of the human experiments after they've been abducted.
According to Corey Good and others, the Mantids are working closely with the Dracos, or the reptilians, and are the main drivers behind the human genetic programs that many ET races are working on. He also said collectively they are not very sympathetic to us.
And you guys will have to wait till the next episode when we'll cover the Dracos. But what's interesting is that Emery Smith and a few other insiders like Pete Peterson actually had a good encounter with these beings. Emery said that the secret military bases that are deep underground actually works with many different kinds of beings, and these are one of them.
So he said that if a being died, these mantids have the ability, I guess you could say, they could download the memory of that person even if they just recently died to see how that being died. Both said that the mantids learned never to open their mouths around humans because, you know, that would completely freak us all out thinking that they're going to eat us.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine a 6-foot mantis opening its mouth? We would all think that it was going to eat us, even if it was vegetarian. Maybe that's where the idea of actually the predator came from, you know, that freaky mouth thing that they have.
Could
also, you know, it's important to note that a lot of these insiders do say, just like humans, there are good beings among the ones which we generally think as bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Emery saw probably some of the worst aspects of what the military was doing, so I can imagine that might change a person and how they look at ETs differently as well. So,
the edge of wonder.
And so the next race are the Alpha Centaurians.
Alpha Centaurians. Mission: genetic experimentation with humans. Home star: Alpha Centauri. Alignment: amoral.
unfortunately, not much are known about these beings, and if you search online, you get all kinds of shapes and forms and descriptions.
However, according to David Wilcock, he heard that these beings look like albinos from Spain that are super ripped and have white hair.
Supposedly, these are working closely with governments, or most likely the cabal side of our governments, and that if you were to recognize them or realize who they are, they would start monitoring you and track you telepathically.
Also, we heard from various sources that a lot of aliens are already doing this, and Corey even warned of many of these personalities tests that we see online actually have extraterrestrials behind them monitoring people.
This can start getting really freaky pretty quickly, and both Rob and I have heard from various sources about how dangerous this can be, but just to note that there are good beings watching over things as well, and watching them as well.
And without further ado, the next alien species is the weirdest species of all of them that I've encountered. And I've drawn a picture of it right here. I call this the Ben Chasteloid. And he is very strange.
Good drawing.
And I heard that he can transform and make himself look exactly like Ben Chasteen.
I can, yeah.
You're freaking me out, man.
It's a good drawing there.
Yeah, it's all
I'll
right.
have to...
Actually, a little bit off, but
it's good.
it's not bad for the first shot.
I'm surprised. I thought you were going to do something totally insane.
Okay, actually, the next race are the Anunnaki.
Anunnaki. Mission: genetically manipulate, control, and conquer. Home planet: Nibiru. Alignment: varied.
Now, you have all heard of the Anunnaki, and if you haven't, geez, where have you been? In 1849, British archaeologist Sir Austin Henry Layard uncovered 14 tablets in Sumeria. To date, they are the oldest known writings, and they date back to the 24th century BC. The term Anunnaki means those who from the heavens came. I mean, these guys could be a few episodes.
Okay, so let's make a really long story short. About 450,000 years ago, these elongated head, human-looking beings flew down in spaceships looking for gold to fix their home planet.
Yeah, you know, that extra planet Nibiru everyone's always talking about, with the wonky orbit that comes in and causes havoc every some odd thousands of years.
So they come down looking for gold, since gold is supposed to do wonders in fixing atmospheric conditions, especially when used in nanoparticles.
But you know, those Anunnaki aren't used to doing their own labor, so they brought a slave race down with them called the Igigi. The Igigi didn't much like being kicked around, so they eventually rebelled and got beaten down nearly to extinction.
Now notice how we didn't say that it was the Anunnaki that created humans, like lots of other people are saying.
And that is because evidence of humans go back way beyond these space jammers. But that's another episode altogether. If you want a little bit of more information on that, you can watch our video on ancient relics.
Right, so basically due to a very dramatic set of circumstances, and probably once they got enough of their gold to save Nibiru, the Anunnaki left, leaving a bunch of Sumerian culture.
But wait, there's more. Did they really leave? All this Anunnaki stuff actually starts to go into royal bloodlines and what's actually controlling the people who are controlling things. That one word we're not supposed to mention. So right, this is into another episode altogether if we keep going down this road.
Yeah.
Yeah, one final thing. Why do the tablets say humans were created by the Anunnaki? If you want us to do a video on this, let us know, because we actually have a pretty solid foundation on this.
Yeah, now we do, I think.
Next, what everyone's been waiting for, the newest aliens to have been uncovered, the Blue Avians.
Blue Avian. Mission: assisting humans on their spiritual path. Home star: unknown. Alignment: benevolent.
Now, these beings are probably ones that everyone in the UFO community are talking about the most right now. Of course, Corey Goode brought these out in the public's eye, but what people don't know is that there are many people who've actually had contact with them. It's just that they don't really talk about it too much.
But look, guys, don't worry about whether these are real. Let's just focus on how cool these beings are. And if they are true and here to help, then that's awesome. I mean, if it's true that these darker beings exist, then I really hope there are some good guys out here helping us out.
Yeah, it'd be good to know. Speaking of cool, these beings have surpassed technology. They don't even need it. They travel interdimensionally by changing their vibrational pattern of their bodies to match the vibrational pattern of the realm or dimension that they just wish to go to.
That's
pretty
awesome.
cool. That's really cool.
Also, because they don't need technology, they travel around in these blue spheres, which are living entities themselves and are superior to almost all of the races out there.
They come from a universe that has a higher density than our own, and they understand that to get involved with human affairs creates a karmic connection, which is why, from our understanding, and most of the benevolent ETs out there don't like to directly interfere with us, otherwise they enter our cycle of reincarnation.
Okay, let's talk about who they are. According to Corey, they follow the ultimate creator and are here to assist humans in their spiritual journey, which is why they may contact some people on an individual basis and not on a massive scale. They look for those who are on the path and seeking the truth of life and are willing to let go of worldly things.
They mostly come into our dreams, and they may give messages to certain people, or sometimes you might see a blue sphere floating in your room or even while you're meditating. Personally, I did see one of these one time when I was meditating, so I do believe in these, but let's save that for another time.
So aside from all of this, Corey said that he did interact with one called Raw Tier Air, and that they were here to bring a message for all humans to focus on increasing our services to others and to be more loving to ourselves and everyone else in order to raise our vibrational level and consciousness.
Also, like all upright religions, learn to forgive yourself and others, which ends a lot of the cycle of this karmic debt. So look at it this way, you guys. Even if you don't believe in all of this, this is just a great message and something we should be doing no matter what we believe.
One last thing to note, Corey said that they did visit our planet long ago, but humans turned into a cult and started to worship them, which is, according to him, not at all what they wanted, which is another reason why they don't want to show themselves. They want us to follow the Lord Creator. The next one are the big, freaky-headed, beady-eyed Zeta Reticuli.
Zeta Reticuli. Mission: genetic experimentation with humans. Home star: Zeta Reticuli system in the constellation Reticulum. Alignment: amoral.
So out of all the extraterrestrial species, these guys are of course the most well-known, the Zeta Reticuli, or simply the Greys.
Now, these beings can be around 3 to 5 feet, or the tall Greys can even be up to 8 feet high. These are one of the most typical beings abductees see. However, what people don't know is that a lot of the insiders say the shorter ones are more like androids. Some actually have artificial constructed robotic elements, and some are completely robots.
Also, almost all of the other species involved with the genetic experimentations use the androids as on-hand workers. In addition to their advanced technology, many say they have the capability to time travel, and that some say they are a future human race that became deformed and unable to reproduce after too much cloning and genetic manipulation of their DNA, which is why they're after ours.
The Greys are said to be highly intelligent and use telepathy to communicate, but value science and technology above spirituality. It is also said that many of them have been trying, along with the Dracos, to get humans to believe so much in science that we won't acknowledge anything unless this science proves it first.
The real scary thought is that it is actually really happening. Also, many report that they don't have any sympathy or emotions for humankind and they just see us as animals.
However, there are some who say that they had a positive experience with them, but a lot of the abductions recently seem to be coming from our own secret military, or I guess you could say the cabal, in which they have been assisting them.
Okay. It's important to note that many insiders and abductees say that not every being within a race is bad. There are most likely some good ones that do wish to help, and also many insiders are saying that some of them are being forced to comply against their will.
Did you guys know that the first documented case of abduction dates back to 1961 with the Barney and Betty Hill abduction?
After undergoing hypnosis, they started to remember their frightening ordeal and were the first people to explain what are known as the stereotypical grays.
It was the first ever case that was widely studied and also began the UFO phenomena, much to their disenjoyment. It is also said that in the super top secret industrial military complex, the Greys have one of the last floors in which humans are banned from entering.
This is where Phil Schneider has his story of attacking them with a team after finding all kinds of human body parts and blood everywhere. He says there was a battle and that he was attacked by a ray gun that burned his hand.
Yeah, and unfortunately then he was killed like a few years later after coming out.
Jeez. So the next race we'll be covering are a more normal race, much to my relief, the Nordics.
Nordics. Mission: assisting humans on their spiritual path and genetic testing. Home star. Pleiades star cluster. Alignment: some benevolent and some hostile.
Now, there are a lot of beings who all look Nordic, which is more of a general term for these beings. They are characterized by being around 5 to 7 feet tall, with blonde hair and mostly blue eyes, with very soft skin.
Yeah, some are known as having no irises and wear contacts to blend in, and are in great physical shape and very attractive. Also, they usually walk very upright, and were first known in the 50s when they tried to get the world governments to stop making atomic weapons.
They're known as a very benevolent race and wish to help mankind in their spiritual development and have been at war with the Dracos for a very long time. Also, they've been reported in many cultures throughout history, such as the Hopi, who called them White Brother.
However, because some aliens can look like them, or look like us I should say, there seems to be a lot of various kinds of Nordics. Some have evil intentions and some don't.
What is also known is that first they said they were from Venus and later changed their home to the Pleiadian clusters. So some say they are deceitful and have a hidden agenda working with the Greys and Dracos.
There's also one group that were taken over by the Dracos and work with the Dracos doing genetic experimentations with humans. Corey Good mentioned to Dr. Michael Salla that this group has 6-fingered hands. Some people have noted that these beings are also present while they were abducted.
Some abductees have had a very pleasant experience being with them, and that they actually showed them different events unfolding in our future, which actually came to pass. And some people also compare them to angels.
What is known is that there seems to be some Nordics that have visited people in dreams and say that they have received guidance that help them in their journey through life.
By the way, going back to Project Serpo, it is reported that the day the Earth stood still, in which a humanoid extraterrestrial arrives on Earth to warn humanity about the dangers of atomic weapons, was inspired by real events with the Nordics.
Last but not least, we have the Tall Whites.
Tall Whites. Mission: aiding the human race. Home star: Orion system. Alignment: benevolent.
So these Tall Whites are different from what people describe as the Nordic Tall Whites. Emery Smith explained these in detail on the Gaia series with David Wilcock.
Emery said that they have a very fluid movement that's actually like a dance. They also have a very deep understanding of all of our belief systems, and they're very compassionate and they're very smart.
He also said that it isn't really white, but more like their skin radiates and reflects light off their skin. Emery also described them as having long fingers but feet similar to ours.
Emery did say they looked exactly like the beings in Star Wars Attack of the Clones who were making the clones that they sell to Obi-Wan. Now, one of the things that I encountered when I was researching tall whites was that Dr. Sala, in his ET motivations report, so, you know, there's been different contact with alien extraterrestrials, and those aliens have deals with our government, right? And so a lot of these aliens actually live on US Air Force bases, and the reports with the tall whites were anything but good, compassionate, or nice. I mean, these beings were like threatening humans. If you got near or close to their kids, they would say they were going to kill you. It was like, and they also described them not like the Star Wars type, but more like humanoid looking.
So I think there, and this is where it gets really confusing, because there's like the Nordics, right? There's probably at least like 10 different races that look similar to the Nordics, and some of them are like extremely benevolent, and then you have ones way over here that are.
And then you might have the military classifying those as tall whites, and then you have Emery and Corey saying that this other group is tall whites.
So it's hard to say exactly, you know, without meeting these races directly.
What the heck's going on?
Yeah. So guys, what do you think of our part 1 of our ET race guide? In our next video, we'll be covering part 2. But if you would like us to cover any more non-terrestrial beings in any particular way, leave a comment below.
Also, we're going to be putting these drawings by moi all together in poster and book formats. So if you guys want a copy for yourself, make sure to check out the links below, in which you can go to the download section.
And as always, remember to hit like and subscribe for more awesome videos. And until then, we will see you guys out
on the edge. These guys are, of course, the most well-known, the Zeta Reticuli, or simply the Greys.
Sorry.
That has got to make it into the bloopers, Eric. That was not in the script, man.
Oh man, I don't know what happened.